December 18th, 2022. Qatar. The World Cup final. Kylian Mbappe had just scored a hat-trick in a World Cup final. He dragged France back from 2 goals down. He made the impossible possible. And then came the penalty shootout. He stepped up first for France. And he scored. He did everything right. And then he stood on that pitch and watched his teammates miss. And France lost anyway. Argentina lifted the trophy. Mbappe walked off as the man who scored the most goals in any World Cup final in history, who scored his penalty in the shootout, who gave his team everything, and still went home with nothing. He's had 4 years to think about that. Now, let me show you something that doesn't get talked about enough. Miroslav Klose, 16 World Cup goals, the all-time record. Took him 4 tournaments, 12 years. Ronaldo, 15. Messi, 13. Mbappe, 12. He needs just 5 more goals to become the greatest World Cup scorer who has ever lived. 5 goals, 1 tournament. For a man who scored 42 goals this season alone, that's not a target, that's a formality. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend the next 9 minutes making the case that France, right now, have built something this tournament has never seen before. Spain are the favorites. Brazil are dangerous. England are England. But by the time this video ends, you'll understand why none of that matters. And if France don't win this World Cup, it will be the biggest waste of talent in the history of the sport. Stay with me. This gets very, very good. Let's start with the obvious. Kylian Mbappe just finished the most dominant individual season of any footballer alive on this planet. 42 goals for Real Madrid, 15 in the Champions League, tournament top scorer, 55 international goals in 95 appearances for France, 1 goal away from becoming France's greatest ever scorer. He is 27 years old, the same age Messi was when people still called him promising. And unlike Messi at 27, Mbappe is already the finished product. Every single coach at this tournament has spent the last 6 months designing their defense around stopping one man. Just one. And none of them have figured it out. You want to know why? Because you cannot stop something that fast, moving that smart, with that much to prove. He said it himself earlier this year. He said, and I want you to hear this exactly, "We will go there to win. It is a dream to put the 3rd star on the jersey." That's not a footballer talking. That's a man with unfinished business. But I need to tell you something about that 2022 final, because most people got the headline wrong. The headline was, Argentina won, Mbappe lost. The real story? France were 2 goals down at halftime. They looked dead. The game was over. And then Mbappe scored. And then he scored again. And then, with France trailing 3-2 in extra time, he stepped up to a penalty and leveled it. 3-3 in a World Cup final. He dragged a broken team back from the edge of history with his bare hands and still lost. He said afterwards that rewatching that final would, and I'm quoting him directly, awaken demons. He hasn't watched it back, not once, in 4 years. You want to know what the most dangerous thing in football is? It's not the best player in the world. It's the best player in the world who hasn't settled a score yet. Now here is where it gets genuinely insane, because people only talk about Mbappe, and that is exactly the problem for every team trying to stop France. France have 9. I need you to actually hear this number. 9 attackers of genuine international quality. Most World Cup teams arrive with 2, maybe 3 world-class options in attack. Germany has 2, Brazil has 3, Spain has 3, France has 9. Let me just walk you through this. Ousmane Dembele, currently one of the best right wingers on the planet, can't get a guaranteed starting spot. Michael Olise, 22 years old, 10 goals, 17 assists for Bayern Munich this season, being discussed as a future Ballon d'Or winner, might not even start a game. Ryan Cherki plays under Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. Guardiola, the most demanding manager in football, trusts this kid. He is probably coming off the bench. France's bench is better than most teams' starting 11, and this is Deschamps' problem to solve. Too much quality, too many options. That is the problem other coaches dream of having. I want to take 60 seconds, just 60, to talk about Michael Olise, because outside of serious football Twitter, almost nobody is discussing this man. This season at Bayern Munich, 10 goals, 17 assists in 24 league games. That is 31 goal involvements in less than 30 games. He's 22. Watch what happens when France can't break a team down, when the opposition parks their entire squad behind the ball, when Mbappe is getting triple marked and nothing is working. Deschamps turns to the bench and he brings on Olise, and the game changes. That's the thing about France's depth that nobody talks about. It's not just that they have quality, it's that their substitutes play differently to their starters. They don't just replace, they reshape. That is genuinely terrifying for a tired defense in the 75th minute. Then there's the man in charge, Didier Deschamps. He has managed France since 2012, 14 years. He won the World Cup in 2018, he reached the final in 2022, and in January this year, he confirmed it. This is his last tournament. He's stepping down when this World Cup ends, regardless of the result. Now think about what that means for a manager. He's not protecting anything. He's not managing his reputation. He's not worried about the next qualifying campaign or who likes him at the federation. He has one job, one tournament, one shot, and the best squad he has ever had. You know what they call that in every sport, in every era, every time a great champion enters their final chapter? A last dance. And if you've ever watched someone compete knowing it's the last time, you know exactly how dangerous that is. And now, I have saved the best bit for last, the draw. When FIFA pulled France out of the pot in December, every other manager in the tournament breathed a sigh of relief. France landed in Group 1. Senegal, Iraq, Norway. That's it. That's the group. While Argentina got Algeria and Austria, while England got Croatia and Ghana, while Brazil got Japan, France got Iraq and Norway. And here's what happened. France beat Senegal 3-1 in their opener, beat Iraq 3-0, and even when Deschamps rotated his squad in the final group game against Norway, resting legs for the knockouts, even then Dembele still scored a hat trick. A hat trick in a group game from the bench rotation. France topped Group 1, arrived at the knockout rounds with their legs fresh, their confidence enormous, and their best players barely broken a sweat. Every other contender showed up to the knockout stage carrying 45 minutes of exhaustion and 3 games of tactical exposure. France showed up rested and dangerous and angry. While other coaches were studying their opponent's weaknesses, Deschamps was studying the final. So let's talk about the road they've actually walked. Round of 32, France versus Sweden. Sweden had finished third in their group, came in as underdogs, left as tourists. Mbappe scored in the 45th minute. Barcola made it 2 early in the second half off an Olise through ball. Mbappe added a third in the 74th minute. 3-0, dominant, comfortable, ruthless. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, because that's the only reason to watch a video like this. France can still blow this. They already showed one crack, that 4-1 loss to Norway in the final group game. Yes, Deschamps rotated. Yes, it was a dead rubber, but Norway exposed the left side of France's defense in the second half, and teams with fast wide forwards will have noted that. Argentina know this. Spain know this. If France reach the quarterfinals, those coaches will have spent the week designing their entire game plan around that vulnerability. And then there's penalties. France have been knocked out on penalties twice in World Cup finals. That is not bad luck. That is a pattern. And patterns in football have a horrible habit of repeating. Mbappe scored his penalty in 2022. He stepped up in the shootout and he scored. He did his job perfectly, under the biggest pressure in football. France lost because the players around him missed. Think about what that means. The best player in the world, carrying an entire nation on his back, doing everything right, and still losing because of someone else. That scar runs deeper than a miss, because there is nothing he could have done differently. If this World Cup ends the same way, with Mbappe standing on that pitch again, having scored again, watching again, I genuinely don't know what he does next. But here's what I do know. 5 reasons. That's what this comes down to. 1. Mbappe is 1 goal away from the World Cup scoring record of all time. He is not leaving this tournament without it, and the only way he gets it is if France keep winning. 2. France's squad depth is historically unprecedented. Dembele just scored a hat-trick from a rotated lineup. That is not a squad. That is a problem for every defense remaining in this tournament. 3. Deschamps is going out swinging. This is his last tournament. No protection, no politics, one last shot. And so far, it's working. 4. The draw handed France the softest group of any top contender. They arrived at the knockouts fresher than everyone. Their legs are better, their minds are sharper. And 5. The 2022 final. That loss didn't break France. It made them angry. And angry, talented, rested, motivated teams with Kylian Mbappe 1 goal from football immortality are the single most dangerous thing that exists in this sport. The 3rd star is coming. Then the quarterfinals. Then, if the bracket holds, Argentina or Spain in the semis. And somewhere on the other side of the bracket, England are still in it somehow. As they always are. Until they aren't. Now, drop your prediction in the comments. Tell me who's going to ruin it for them. Because somebody always does, and I want to know who you think it is.